In this short video, I'm going to walk you through setting up appointment slots that people can reserve time with you without having to already have access to your calendar. It also allows you to take time to define a time in the day when you would accept these appointments. Now, we all know at NC State, if you open up your calendar and you click on Make an Event, you can always invite somebody to that event. And then you can click Find a Time and browse through the various days and times, find an event slot for them, and then you can send them an event at that time. And that's useful if you want to allow folks to pick a time and set the duration for how much time that's going to be on your calendar. In many cases, you know that you only need a 30-minute or 45-minute appointment slot, and maybe you only want to have that between 8 and 3 p.m. or 10 and 3 p.m. Or you might want to have a couple of times during the day when people can get a hold of you, or you have other meetings that are going on that you want to make sure is constantly updated as they go and pick those time slots. Well, if you've ever used a tool like Calendly, then you know that there's an easy way to take care of this, and this is how to make Google work just like that. The first thing you want to do is click on the gear and click on Settings. Then on the left side, you'll see under General, Appointment Schedules. At the very bottom, you're going to click the checkbox that says Create Appointment Schedules instead of Appointment Slots. Now, when we click on Create, we'll see Appointment Schedule. If this still says Appointment Slots, go back into the settings and make sure that you've checked that box or hit refresh on your browser. When I click Appointment Schedule, it's going to ask me how I want this to be set up. So the first thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to call this DASA Web Appointments. And I want these to be 45 minutes each. And I don't want to be available for these on Friday. And I want to be available Monday from 10 a.m. until let's call it noon, and I want to be available from maybe 2:30 p.m. until 4 p.m. Tuesday, I want to be available between 9 a.m. and noon, and then again from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And Wednesday and Thursday, I'm just going to leave alone. So this is going to say, how often do you want this to repeat? And you can have this set up that you only want this to happen for this particular week. So if you have a specific set of events where you want maybe students or other colleagues to come and meet with you, you can set this up and say, hey, don't ever repeat this. If you want it to keep repeating every week, though, you can set that here. What's nice about this is that there are some other things that you can take advantage of. And I want to point out, just because you've set up an appointment schedule doesn't mean that it's going to override or make you available at times when you already have things booked. This works in cooperation with the events that are already on your calendar where you've marked yourself busy. So even if you might be available on Monday between 10 and noon, if you have a meeting at 11 to noon, it's only going to show people the 10 to 10:45 slot. So let's take a look at the scheduling window. This tells people how far in advance they can book you. So you can say, I want to have start and end dates when people can book me. Or what I like to do is use the rolling booking. And you can let people book you out to 2 months in the future. And they can book you up to 4 hours beforehand. Now, I don't like that. So I tend to make this 16 hours beforehand. That way I don't have any surprise meetings that happen later in the day. You might pick 8 hours. That way it's just the day before. But that makes it so that you have the ability to kind of take care of this. If you know that you have different dates and times when you're available at when you have different availability, you can set that here. We can click on that and you can say, okay, maybe on February the 22nd, I'm only going to be available from 8 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. And so on the 22nd, you'll notice that that's adjusted on my calendar. I have the 3 slots there, and that's it. booked appointment settings allows you to add buffer times between appointments. So let's say, for example, you want to make sure you have 15 minutes. That lets you catch up on any, emails or anything like that that may have happened. And then you only want to have a maximum number of booked appointments in a day and we'll call it 4 just because that seems reasonable. Finally, you want the calendars checked for availability. And so this will list all of the calendars, not only that you own, which will be checked by default, but also any of the other calendars to which you have access. So there's a whole bunch of them in here that you may have access to. And as you check those are the things that it's going to look at to ensure that it's not double booking you. Finally, you can pick the color for these events. If you color code things, you can change this. So I'm just going to make it sage. And the next thing we'll do is click next. So the booking photo and name, it's going to book this as just whatever you have set up already in your Google account. So in this case, this is the DASA Tech web account. And if you want to have video conferencing, you can say, I want this to be an in-person meeting, and you can specify the location. You can set it up as a phone call and give them the phone number you want them to call. Or what I like to do is make it a Google Meet. And that way it automatically provides the link and then a description. This is an easy way just to put in what this is going to be about. So a quick check-in meeting about web stuff. Okay. Finally, you can ask people information in the booking form. We're going to ask for the first name, last name, and email address. Those are all required. We don't need to do email verification. That's okay. If you start to get some spammy things happening, you can check that and that will help rule that out. But I like to have a custom item in there, and I like to make it required called topic you'd like to discuss. And that way when they fill it out, they're going to fill in their first name, last name, email address, and whatever the topic is that they want to discuss. Now you can continue to add items, you can edit items, or you can remove them. Finally, we have a booking confirmation and reminders. So here you're going to get a calendar information, and this will give email reminders as well. So the person who makes the appointment is going to get a reminder via email a day before the appointment, or you can set it, some amount of time, an hour, or you can make it custom. So I might make this 4 hours before the appointment, they're going to get a reminder. You can also add separate reminders and say, okay, well, I want them also to get one. I also want to get them 10 minutes before. And maybe I also want them to get one the day before. So now they get one the day before, 4 hours before, and 10 minutes before. That's a little much. That's kind of extra, but we're going to go ahead and just make this 4 hours. Once that's done, we're going to hit save. And here we are. And you can see that we have these booking appointments. So we have a booking page, and let's open up the booking page, and this is what it will look like when people go and visit this particular page so that you can see kind of what others are going to see. This is what they'll see. They're going to see it's a 45-minute appointment, that it's going to be Google Meet, and that it's going to be a quick check-in. When they go through and look, notice we have this set up so that they can book out 60 days. They can't pick any further. And today is the 31st, so they can't pick anything more than 8 hours out. So they can't pick something for later in the day, today, for example. But if I click, let's say 9 a.m. tomorrow, here's that form that I was talking about. It's automatically going to fill in their information so long as they're logged into Google. If they're not logged into Google, they'll have to fill it in manually. That allows it to work with folks who are outside of NC State, and then type in the topic that they want to discuss. I'm just going to say web things, book. Okay, that booking has been confirmed. It's all sent back. And now the appointment slot's been removed. I don't have to do anything there. Okay. When I go back into my appointments, I'll see here that I have a 9 a.m. appointment, things you'd like to discuss, web things, who it was booked by, their email address, so I can quickly contact them if I need to contact them to edit or remove it. And then I see what slots I have available. Now let's say something comes up at the last minute and I really can't do anything on Thursday the 2nd. I can come into here and I can just click delete, and it's going to say, do you want to delete your entire appointment schedule? Do you want to delete every single Thursday from 9 to 5, or just this week? Now I'm just going to be gone this week on the 2nd, so I'm going to go ahead and just say this week only. Done. Notice that none of the other weeks are affected, so I'm easily able to then make adjustments to this on the fly as I need to. If I'm out of the office, I'm not going to have those appointments either. So if I come in here and say, hey, I'm out of the office on this day, automatically decline these meetings. We're going to say save and decline. Now, if I come back in, right, and I see my booking page, let's go take a look at the 9th. The 9th is no longer on here. I'm out of the office, it's automatically removed it. See? Super easy way to manage taking appointments, having confirmations, automatically setting up the details of the meeting without having to go back and forth with somebody. I'm going to give you one last tip. And my last tip for you is to set up a Go link. So if you go to go.ncsu.edu, you can log in. And once you log in, you can say create Go link. From here, specify your own text. So it's going to be go.ncsu.edu/ and then whatever you want it to be. In my case, I picked Meet with Keith. Really easy to remember. You can tell somebody super easy when you're just have them in passing and say, hey, if you want to meet with me, just go to go.ncsu.edu/meet with Keith or whatever you'd like. I would recommend that you make it, something that's not going to be totally generic like my meetings. But if you do something that's a little more specific, you'll probably get a chance. Once you get that, you can put in your link to your booking website, which you can always get from right here. So once you go and see what others see, you can go and grab the URL from here and you can put it into this and then share access with. And that's just who you want to also be able to manage this. So you really don't need to do any of this other stuff, but you do need to fill out, specify my own text, put in what you want to be called, and then have your link to your booking page and click submit. Once that's done, you'll be able to then manage that link. You can delete it at any time if you want to, but it'll point people right to your booking page. So that's a really handy tool with a new feature built into Google that you're able to take advantage of. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Thanks.